They want to transfer you to a branch in the countryside. Since childhood, I had been working with something I loved and was always at the top of my department. That smooth sailing life came to an abrupt end with a single sentence from someone I deeply respected. Why me? The destination was the lowest performing branch in the company. The sheer unfairness of the situation left me in despair, but what I saw next left me utterly shocked. And so began my new days at this workplace. It would go on to change my life, and the lives of those I met, in a major way. My name is Steve, and I'm 28. Ever since I was a kid, I've always preferred tea over sweet juice. Maybe your taste buds were influenced because you spent so much time with Grandpa, Steve. My mother would often say, encouraging me to drink juice once in a while. She knew my classmates thought it was odd that I only drank tea. But I would stubbornly shake my head. Because it's delicious. I won't drink anything else. Make sure to buy more, okay? Alright. The tea I especially liked was a particular bottled brand. I drank it so much that my mom was almost exasperated. I was so obsessed that in 4th grade, I even made it the subject of my summer project. Why does this taste so good? That passion shone through during my job interview, and eventually, I became an employee of the beverage company that sold that very tea. This new product is really great. Please consider it. Your passion is amazing, as always. Please. Alright. It's like you're in love with it, said the client, nodding with a smile, though slightly exasperated. There's no moment in this job more rewarding than when my love for the product moves the hearts of those I meet. I was assigned to the sales department. In short, my job is to highlight the quality of our products and get as many clients as possible to purchase them. For someone like me who has a deep love for this company's products, it's the perfect job. Of course, I don't just sell my favorite tea from childhood. The new vegetable juice is doing well, huh? Oh, hey, John. I ran into someone as I returned to the office. Normally, someone like me, a regular employee, would hardly ever cross paths with him. It was John, the head of our division overseeing numerous departments. I tasted it myself, and it does have a rather selective appeal. Actually, I felt the same. But that uniqueness is its charm, and I think people are starting to appreciate that. I see. It's because it's you, Steve. John smiled faintly, and his words warmed my heart. I always test new products myself, visit the planning and development departments, and make sure I fully understand the selling points. To know that someone in his position was aware of that effort. And the results showed in the numbers. For the past year, I had been the top performer in sales. Word has reached headquarters. Keep up the good work. Yes, sir. By the way, Steve, do you like the countryside? Huh? I responded, confused by his sudden question. Well, since my hometown is in the countryside. I guess I do like it. I see. Understood. That's all. Thanks for your time. John was known to be a man of few words, but also famous for his deep sense of compassion. You could tell by the way he spoke, always remembering the names of even the lower-level employees like me and offering words of encouragement. He was around the same age as my father, and his quiet demeanor reminded me so much of him that I secretly thought of John as my dad in Tokyo. So, when I felt betrayed by John, it was like being abandoned by a parent. The despair was overwhelming. What? You want me to go to the director's office right now? One day, I was suddenly called in. To my surprise, John himself had summoned me. I was shocked, and my colleagues were buzzing with curiosity. Is it finally happening? Did he beat us to it? But if it's Steve, it makes sense. Well, it's not decided yet. Anyway, I'll go see what's up. I tried to remain calm, but deep down, I couldn't contain my excitement. I was finally getting a promotion, or so I thought. But that hope was quickly shattered. You'll be transferred to another branch, John said, furrowing his brow deeply. At that moment, I couldn't comprehend what was happening. I'm sorry, could you say that again? You're being transferred. This time, he said it more clearly, placing a document in front of me with the large word notice written on it. It read, John, what is this Sunrise branch? I've never heard of it. You said you liked the countryside, didn't you? It's a peaceful town with beautiful scenery. Oh. I suddenly remembered the odd question he had asked me before. Do you like the countryside? So, John had been planning to send me out there all along? This is unacceptable. You're transferring me to some unknown branch? Isn't this basically a demotion? I blurted out in a frenzy. I had maintained the top sales performance in the department, and I had just won the President's Award. Many clients trusted me and would even ask for me by name. Most of all, I loved my current job and was confident that no one else was as passionate about it as I was. So why me? But my words didn't reach John. This decision won't be changed. You'll receive the formal notice soon. That can't be. John's voice carried a force that left no room for argument. It subtly hinted that refusing would lead to an even worse fate. I had respected him so much, but was this who he truly was all along? The betrayal felt like a punch to the gut, especially from someone I had considered a second father. But then, in that very moment, what? I thought I was hallucinating from the shock. But no matter how many times I blinked or rubbed my eyes, the scene didn't change, and I finally realized it was real. John, what are you? Please. I beg you. Why? Please, stop this. I forgot all my anger and rushed over to him in panic. He had stood up from his chair and was now bowing his head toward me. There's a reason. I had no choice but to send you to the countryside, John said, still bowing his head, revealing the truth behind my transfer. And then, about a month later, I met her in the town where my new workplace was located. Man, this place is peaceful. I took a deep breath, gazing at the scenery in front of me. Beyond the rice fields, the mountains were already turning shades of red and yellow with the autumn leaves. With nothing obstructing the view, I could take in the stunning landscape in all directions. It felt almost like a luxury. Enjoying the scenery, I kept walking along the gravel road. Finally, a building came into view in the distance. That must be the Sunrise branch. My new workplace. A tiny branch tucked away in the mountains, so obscure that even the head office barely knew about it. But there was something unique about this place. All right. Just as I gathered my resolve and reached for the door handle, it happened. Whoa! The door suddenly swung open on its own, and a thud hit my shoulder. Eek! A short scream escaped from the woman who had bumped into me, and she stumbled. At the same time, her bag fell to the ground, scattering its contents everywhere. Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Panicking, I crouched down, trying to help her pick up the items. But then, I froze at the sight before me. She had bright, long blonde hair, styled with tight curls, shining so vividly it almost hurt my eyes. Thick black eyeliner framed her eyes with long, fluttering lashes, and her makeup was heavy. Her nails were long and glittery, like something out of a magazine. She was the epitome of a gal right in front of me. What was a flashy girl like her doing in the countryside? And she had come out of the building, right? While I stood there dumbfounded, she had already picked up most of her things. Then, she looked straight at me and said, "Move." "Ha! You're in the way." "Move." "In the way?" "At your feet." She pointed sharply at the ground with one of her long nails, her voice cutting through the air. Startled, I quickly stood up and started helping her pick up what was near my feet. And then, wait, this. One of the items caught my eye. It was something I never would have expected from someone like her, something that made me feel a strange sense of connection, almost familiar. By any chance? Give it back." She snatched it from my hand before I could finish. Without even glancing at me, the gal hurried to her car in the parking lot. In no time, she sped off, leaving me standing there, bewildered. What just happened? I think she was beautiful, but there were so many mysteries about her. If that gal turned out to be one of the staff at this branch, my days here were not going to be easy. And as it turns out, my prediction would be spot on. Though, it would come true in ways far beyond anything I could have imagined. Oh, what is this? The moment I stepped into the building, I instinctively covered my mouth and started coughing. After breathing in the fresh air outside, the stale, musty air inside hit me like a shock, and I rushed back out into the neighboring building. "Excuse me, what is going on with that place?" I pointed back at the building I had just come from and asked the people inside. But the women inside didn't even turn to look at me. "Oh, sorry. We're not open yet." One of the women answered lazily, her eyes glued to the TV. I moved around to force my way into her field of vision. "It's not about being open. When was the last time that place was cleaned? It's covered in dust. The floors, the tables, everything." The woman, who wore a name tag that read Martha, sighed and finally responded, though clearly annoyed. "Cleaned? We clean it all the time. You can't be serious. The dust is piled up, it's unbelievable. And who are you, anyway?" "You just barged in here like you own the place," she snapped back. All 5 of the women in the room were middle-aged. And now, with Martha's words, the other 4 turned their eyes toward me as well. Feeling the pressure of their stares, I introduced myself, explaining that I had been transferred from headquarters. "My name is Steve, and I'll be working at this branch and the cafe next door starting today." Yes, the unique feature of this branch was that it was attached to a cafe specializing in Japanese tea. The idea was to let the locals enjoy the company's flagship tea products, which would help boost sales. John had explained this to me before I came here, but honestly, I don't think that place is in any condition to serve food or drinks. The response to my cautious suggestion was far too dismissive, almost indifferent. Looking around, the inside of this branch was far from ideal. The TV blared loudly, the desks were cluttered with snacks and personal items. And there wasn't a single person who seemed to have any motivation. I needed to speak to whoever was in charge, at the very least. With that thought, I turned to Martha. "By the way, where's Lily, the branch manager?" "Lily?" The mood inside the building suddenly shifted. Martha's face grew noticeably sour, and she responded with a dismissive tone. "She probably left already." "Left? I heard a car earlier." "She's always like that." "What?" A thought clicked in my mind. The young woman who bumped into me earlier outside the cafe. Could that have been Lily, the branch manager? She should just quit already. Don't you agree, everyone? Martha muttered. The other 4 women nodded in agreement. What do you mean by that? I asked. We've had it, working under her. I mean, the branch manager has the least motivation of all of us. How are we supposed to care about our jobs? Whenever she does show up, she leaves almost right away. She barely even says hello. Kids these days, I swear. And those clothes. She looks so scary. I totally get it. I wouldn't want to go near her either. The 5 women were now enthusiastically bad-mouthing Lily, their voices growing louder. This was getting out of hand. I clapped my hands together sharply to get their attention. All right. I can see you all have a lot to say, but let's calm down for a moment. Steve, right? You seem pretty eager, but you shouldn't try too hard. Here, we just take it easy, work doesn't really matter, Martha said. Her words perfectly capturing the current state of this branch. This isn't the time for that, I responded firmly. Ha! Martha and the others gave me puzzled looks as I made my announcement. We're having a meeting right now. And this branch will be closed down by the end of this fiscal year. The 5 women erupted in shock at my words. Martha raised her hand, speaking for the group. Hold on, we didn't hear anything about that. That's only if things stay the way they are. It's not a final decision yet. What do you mean? The headquarters has decided that if certain conditions are met, they will reconsider shutting down the branch. It was part of the reason I had been transferred here. But those conditions were nothing short of a monumental challenge for them. The condition is that this branch must achieve the highest sales of all branches by the end of this year. If we fail, the Sunrise branch will be shut down. First place. The 5 women exchanged stunned glances, their mouths agape. I couldn't blame them for reacting that way. This branch had consistently been near the bottom in terms of sales year after year. They knew better than anyone how far behind they were. Everyone started muttering about how impossible it was. Only Martha remained composed and asked the important question. If the branch closes, what happens to us? Unfortunately, everyone will be laid off. Everyone, even you, Steve? Martha's expression suddenly softened into one of concern. Was she really worried about me, someone she had just met? Maybe, deep down, she wasn't such a bad person after all. Yes, I'll be out of a job too. That's why I had come here determined to meet the conditions. I would return to headquarters, no matter what. But to do that, I needed everyone here to get motivated. Martha, you mentioned earlier that you didn't want to work under Lily. Can you tell me more about that? Well, honestly, how can you trust someone who dresses like that? When Lily had arrived as the new branch manager about a year ago, she had shocked everyone. Her entire look screamed flashy gal fashion, something unheard of in a small rural town like this. Not to mention her bleached blonde hair, long, glittering nails. I could tell at a glance. She had no intention of working. The other 4 women nodded in agreement, and the air started to feel like another round of complaints was about to begin. It's true that Lily wasn't just the branch manager but also the cafe manager. Even I could see how her long nails and elaborate hair weren't suitable for someone in food service. Her appearance would stand out even in Tokyo, let alone in a small rural town like this. I could see why Martha and the others felt the way they did. But is that really okay? Are we really sure she has no intention of working? What do you mean? Maybe we're judging her too much by her appearance. No. She never works, not at all. She has no motivation, Martha quickly responded. I don't think she has zero motivation, I said, revealing something they likely didn't know. I told them about the moment I bumped into Lily outside the cafe. Lily was carrying a book about tea. A book about tea. Martha was the first to speak up, and soon a murmur spread through the group. They whispered in disbelief. Yes. It was a book about how to brew tea properly. Would someone completely unmotivated be carrying something like that? It was such an unexpected hobby for someone with her flashy appearance. And although I hadn't known at the time that she would be my new boss, I felt a sense of connection with her. I realized she might love tea, just like I did. There were signs she had read it thoroughly. I'm sure Lily likes tea. I've always believed that someone who loves tea can't be a bad person at heart. It's something I hold on to deeply. It was at that moment that Martha muttered under her breath. That's my book. Ha! I lent her that book when she first arrived. I told her to study it. I never thought she actually read it. Martha smiled faintly for the first time, saying, I see. The other four women either looked down or wore awkward expressions. Each of them must have had their own thoughts about the situation. All right, let's start by fixing up the environment. Raising my voice to shift the atmosphere, I suggested to the group that we start cleaning the branch and the cafe. This time, no one objected. But Steve, there haven't been any customers at the cafe for months. No matter how much we clean. Martha, leave that part to me. I'll talk to Lily about it. You will? Yes. Since I'd reassured Martha, I now had to make sure to convince Lily. The next morning, I waited outside the cafe for her. What's this? What's going on? Lily stood in the doorway, stunned at the sight of the sparkling clean cafe. And she had every reason to be. We'd spent the entire previous day thoroughly cleaning every nook and cranny. The branch itself had also been fully organized and was shining. It looks great, right? Now we're ready for customers anytime, I said proudly. But Lily's reaction was completely unexpected. Steve, right? What do you think you're doing? What? You did this without my permission. Who said you could clean? I'm sorry, but… seriously, what's your problem? She let out a big sigh and plopped down into a chair. Ignoring my presence, she started watching videos on her phone. Feeling a bit restless, I suddenly had an idea and headed to the kitchen. Here you go, green tea. Please have some if you'd like. As I placed the steaming cup in front of her, she gave me a suspicious look. What is this? The color's off, and it doesn't even smell right. You noticed? I love tea, but I've never been good at brewing it. I guess I just don't have the touch. The purpose of this cafe was to introduce people to the beauty of Japanese tea. And, of course, to get them interested in our company's flagship product, the ultimate fresh brewed Japanese tea series, which I adored. But the tea I had brewed was nowhere near the level of the tea I had loved drinking all these years. Even I could do better than this, Lily muttered after taking a sip. I didn't let that slip by unnoticed. Of course. You've been practicing here every morning, after all. Huh? How do you know that? Lily looked up at me, wide-eyed. The truth is, when I cleaned the kitchen yesterday, I noticed clear signs that someone had recently brewed tea. And curiously enough, the kitchen was the only place that had been kept particularly clean. When I asked Martha and the others, none of them claimed responsibility. That's when I put two and two together and decided to test my theory with Lily. So, you've been practicing how to brew tea, haven't you? Lily's face flushed immediately. And what if I have? What's it to you? It's not like it matters. It does matter. It means you're motivated, deep down. If that's the case, I'm not motivated. Can't you tell? She ran a hand through her long hair with her glittering nails, standing up with a tired expression. Wait. If we keep going like this, the branch will be shut down. The cafe too. So what? Let it close. I don't care. You can't mean that. If you don't care, then why are you carrying that book? At those words, Lily stopped dead in her tracks. What? Martha's book, the one in your bag. If you really didn't care, you wouldn't be carrying it around. It's nothing. It's just been in there this whole time. It's important to you, isn't it? Otherwise, you wouldn't have snatched it back so fiercely. Could you tell me why? She hesitated for a moment, then slowly turned back toward me. Resigned, she finally spoke. I just have bad luck. Bad luck? Nothing ever works out for me. Ever since I was a kid, bad things just kept happening. The more I wanted to hold on to something, the quicker it slipped away. Lily, that's overthinking? Yeah, that's what everyone says. But it's real. She sighed deeply, covering her face with her hands. She explained that when she was still young, her parents suddenly divorced. She adored her father, but he left, and she never saw him again. That's when everything started going wrong in her life. When I first got here, I thought I could give it my best, but of course, it didn't work out. That's not. I mean, I'm the kind of person who gets abandoned by their own father. No one would want to be around someone so worthless. Lily, that's not true. Honestly, maybe I shouldn't have bothered trying from the start. I had only scratched the surface of her story. I couldn't fully understand her pain or what it was like to be in her shoes. But that one thing I could say for certain, that part is definitely wrong. Life isn't fair. Some people have good luck all the time, while others face bad luck over and over. I do believe it's partly due to luck. Exactly, see? You get it, Lily replied with a resigned sigh. But saying it wasn't worth trying, that's not true. Your efforts did reach Martha and the others. What? I had learned from Martha and the others. When Lily first arrived here, she had tried to befriend them, making small talk and reaching out. But they didn't open up to her because of her appearance. As a result, Lily gradually spoke less and lost her motivation for the job, something they had confessed to me while we were cleaning. Almost like a form of repentance. They remembered how hard you tried, Lily. They want to apologize now, even if it's a little late. No way. But the sad part is that you gave up. And because of that, they closed themselves off even more. As the branch manager, you should have stuck with it and really tried to connect with them. I purposely spoke a bit harshly, hoping my words would reach her. The real Lily was hardworking, and I believed, deep down, she had a kind heart. I was sure she'd listen. No matter the situation, you can't give up until the results show. That's what's important, especially when it comes to something you love. Something I love? Deep down, you love tea, don't you? You can tell the quality just by looking at it. Don't you think it's weird? It doesn't suit me. I don't think it's weird at all. But if you're worried about how people see you, why not match your appearance to what you're passionate about? Huh? Lily looked at me, confused, as I explained my plan. The next day, she made a shocking transformation. No way. Is that really you? The 5 staff members of the branch stood wide-eyed, staring at the woman before them. She had her black hair neatly tied back, wore a white shirt and slacks, and her simple makeup highlighted her refined features. This elegant woman, radiating a graceful beauty, responded to Martha's question, her gaze dropping shyly as they all stared at her in awe. It's me, Lily. Unbelievable. The whole branch erupted in excitement. Of course, it was because Lily had undergone such a drastic change overnight. She had removed her long nails, and even her tone of voice was different. There wasn't a single person who wasn't curious about what had happened. What brought this on? All of a sudden, I want to try again. This time, all the way to the end. What? Please. Lily bowed deeply before them. I need your help. I don't want this place to be shut down. Lily, I want to feel like trying was worth it this time. So, I'm going to do my best, and I'm asking for your help. She bowed even deeper, her voice sincere and unguarded. Her words were awkward but sincere, without any pretense. And those straightforward words reached the hearts of Martha and the others, who had been uncertain. Well, saying it is one thing. I know. Sorry, but it's hard to trust that easily, given everything. I understand. So starting today, I'll brew tea every morning. Tea? Please, judge the results of my practice. If my tea starts tasting better, will you work hard with me? Well, Martha and the others exchanged glances and, after a moment, smiled. Of course. But don't expect us to go easy on you. Okay. Lily's face brightened like a flower blooming, the tension finally lifting. And so, Lily and the 5 staff members reconciled. From that day forward, Lily brewed tea for everyone every morning. At first, the tea was criticized, too bitter, poor color, and other complaints. Still, Lily continued brewing tea, and slowly, Martha and the others began to disappear for hours, saying they had to step out for a bit. I wonder what's going on. No one's come back at all today, I said, exchanging puzzled looks with Lily. Yeah. Just then, Martha finally returned. Here, she said, thrusting a stack of papers into Lily's hands. When I saw what they were, I couldn't help but shout. These are all orders? I've been visiting some of my contacts, companies, shops, and so on. I also made sure to promote the cafe while I was at it. Ha! As Lily stood there, stunned, the other staff members returned one by one. Each of them echoed Martha's words as they placed stacks of order forms in front of Lily. You all went out on sales calls? The branch manager's brewing delicious tea for us, so how could we not do our part? Wait, did you just say the tea is delicious now? Tomorrow, I'm planning to visit friends of friends. Right, everyone? Martha's words were met with enthusiastic nods from the other 4. Lily's eyes filled with tears as she bowed her head. Thank you so much. Please, let's do this together. Thanks to the strong local connections that only a small town can offer, Martha and the others steadily boosted the sales. I also used my sales experience from the head office to open new retail channels like convenience stores, though I couldn't match their speed. Lily focused on running the cafe, improving her tea brewing skills, and promoting the cafe through social media, which slowly began attracting more visitors. Together, the Sunrise branch moved as one, pushing toward the goal of becoming the top-selling branch. And by the end of January, we achieved an incredible result, second place, just behind the first. This is amazing. This is really happening, right? Lily kept checking the data sent from headquarters, looking to me for confirmation. I nodded, turning toward Martha and the others. But instead of celebrating, they remained calm, with serious expressions. No matter how good the results are, if we're not first, it's meaningless. Isn't that right, Steve? Yes. Martha's words reminded me not to get too comfortable. There was no room for complacency with second place. If we didn't claim first, the branch would still be shut down. We've exhausted all options. There are no new sales channels to open, and our current clients can't increase their orders. We've done everything we can. No way. Then I'll try to bring in more cafe customers. I'll push harder on social media. There's a limit to that too, Lily. Especially with all this snow, it's hard for people to come out just to drink tea. How many would really make the trip? Right. Lily lowered her head, and the mood in the Sunrise branch turned heavy. After everything we'd worked for, I wanted to reach first place just as much as anyone. But it seemed like we'd run out of moves. Was giving up the only option left? Just as I clenched my fist in frustration, something happened. Subscription. Huh? All eyes turned to Lily as she muttered the word. A sub, what? Martha asked, confused. A subscription service, Martha. It's a system where you pay a flat fee and can use the service as much as you want. For example, you can watch unlimited movies. I use it for video streaming. So, what if we offered unlimited tea for a monthly fee? The cost would be lower than paying for each cup individually. A tea subscription, huh? That could definitely catch people's attention. Martha mused, though it was clear that the concept hadn't fully penetrated among the older generation in the area. The cafe's clientele was mostly people of Martha's generation or older. I wondered how many would actually use the subscription service. But Lily's words quickly dispelled my concerns. It doesn't matter if it fails. At this point, we can only hope for the best. Lily, coming from someone who used to be so pessimistic, her words carried a powerful sense of change. I felt my chest tighten with emotion, and her resolve gave me the courage to believe in her and move forward. Let's give it a try. The subscription idea. If it fails, it fails. If both of you say so, I'll start spreading the word around the neighborhood. Right, everyone? The other 4 staff members nodded in agreement to Martha's suggestion. Without wasting a moment, they all rushed out to put the plan into action. They're so reliable. It makes me even more determined to make us the #1 branch. Lily said with a smile, looking every bit the branch manager she'd become. The Sunrise branch had become a precious place for me too. If someone asked me if I still wanted to return to the head office right away, I would have immediately said yes before. But now, it wasn't so easy to answer. Let's become #1, Manager Lily. That's the first time anyone's called me that. Really? Lily laughed, nodding, and I couldn't help but laugh along with her. The moment felt so comfortable, I wished it could last forever. Soon, Lily's tea subscription idea, helped by Martha and the staff's word-of-mouth promotion, caught on. To our surprise, even the senior generation, unfamiliar with the term subscription, found it new and exciting. Despite the heavy snowfall, people from both inside and outside the town started flocking to the cafe, And the Sunrise branch finally achieved the #1 spot in sales among all branches. Not only that, but the branch became widely known across the country for its innovative ideas that significantly boosted sales. The subscription service was such a success that it was approved by headquarters to be implemented at other cafe-attached branches nationwide. Thank you so much, everyone. It's all thanks to you. On the day the final sales results were announced, we decided to celebrate our success at the cafe. Lily, emotional from the start, teared up during her speech, prompting both laughter and sympathetic tears from Martha and the others. You did a great job too, Steve. Anne. I'm sorry for saying all those rude things at first, Lily said, looking at me with sincere eyes. I'd completely forgotten about that. You've just been working me too hard, I joked. Come on. Lily laughed, a bit exasperated by my comment. And then, right at that moment. Well done, Steve. The door, marked private event today, swung open from outside, and a familiar voice filled the room. It was John. You've really done a great job. I wanted to thank you personally. It was John, from headquarters, the one who had arranged my transfer to this branch. Of course, I was surprised by his sudden visit. But the one who was even more shocked was, "Oh, why are you here? You look just like your mother. You've grown so beautiful, Lily. Why are you here, Dad?" Lily's face turned pale as her lips trembled. Yes, John was Lily's biological father. And I had known this from the very beginning. You abandoned me. Why now? What do you want? Once we moved into the branch building, Lily's anger erupted. John silently took her words, letting her vent. Her voice was filled with the complex emotions she held toward her father. Do you have any idea what I went through after you divorced, Mom? How many times I was mocked for being from a single-parent family? How much I wished you had cared about me. Even if you didn't take me out or come to school events. I would have been happy if you just came home once in a while. She had been treated harshly by others and couldn't confide in her busy mother. Lily had no choice but to protect herself. That flashy gal style and tough attitude were her armor. It was a way to keep others at bay before they could hurt her. Lily, I'm sorry. Your mother couldn't see things the way you did. She couldn't stand how I was always focused on work, and in the end, divorce was the only option. Liar. You cared more about work than us, didn't you? I don't want to see your face anymore, never. She was about to say that he should never show himself in front of her again. But those words never came out. Because I interrupted her. That's not true, Lily. Steve, it's okay. I don't deserve to be here, John said, trying to defuse the situation. It's time you told her the truth, John. The truth. What do you mean, Steve? Lily, on the verge of tears, turned toward me. I decided to reveal the truth I had learned. It was something John himself had told me when I received my transfer order. Lily, wasn't your job search difficult? Yeah. But how do you know that? But one day, you suddenly got a job offer, didn't you? Yes. That was because of him, your father, John. What? Lily was left speechless as John lowered his head. Still looking down, he began to confess. I heard from your mother that you were struggling to find a job. I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. My mother. You've been in contact with her? Yes. John and his ex-wife continued to meet even after the divorce. The purpose was to hand over child support or to hear updates about Lily. During one of those meetings, he learned about Lily's job troubles. And Lily's mother had asked John to help their daughter. So, I did everything I could to get you a job at my company. It's a big, reputable firm, and I thought your mother would feel reassured. I went around begging people for help, but it wasn't easy. In the end, all I could do was secure a spot at this rural branch. But that's when John's name finally carried some weight. Someone, trying to please John, pulled strings. And Lily was suddenly promoted to branch manager, despite being a new graduate. Of course, not everyone was happy about it. There were people who wanted to see you in this branch fail due to its poor performance. That's why I sent Steve here. What? Lily stared at me in shock. I nodded, confirming John's words. At first, I thought it was an unfair demotion too. But I soon realized it was to protect you, Lily. No, this can't be. Steve is the one who could save this branch, the one who could protect you, Lily. I made a big request to get him here. Steve, I'll never be able to repay you. I'll owe you for life. Truly, thank you, John said, bowing deeply to me, just like that day. He even promised to put me in any position I desired, staking his career on it. And, of course, offering to return me to headquarters immediately. But my answer had already been decided. What I want is time with Lily. What? Steve? John and Lily both stood there, stunned. I continued. John, Lily. What I want is for Lily to spend time with her family. That's my wish. But what do you gain from this? John asked, bewildered. I didn't answer him, instead locking eyes with Lily. Lily, you may have thought your father abandoned you. But he's been thinking about you all along. Yeah. Don't say you never want to see him again. He's been longing to see you. So now, show him your face, make up for lost time. Okay. As tears streamed down Lily's face, John wiped his own tears. The two of them soon embraced tightly, both crying. You've grown so much, Lily. Dad. Quietly, I stepped away, not wanting to interrupt the long-awaited reunion between father and daughter. After a while, Lily, with red, swollen eyes from crying, came running after me outside. Steve. I think I had given up on my life. I kept telling myself that nothing good was going to happen. That's why I started dressing more flashily, as if that would help me escape. But now, I'm so glad I didn't give up. I'm so grateful you told me not to quit until I saw results. Meeting you taught me something so important. From now on, I want to keep working hard. No matter what happens, I want to keep going, by your side. Is that okay, Dad? What? Behind her, John stood with a complicated expression, shaking his head as if resigned to the situation. Already leaving your old man, huh? It's a little sad, to be honest. Dad, you'll always be my father. But Steve is special. Well, if it's Steve, then I'm all for it. I looked back and forth between the two of them, struggling to keep up with the conversation. Lily smiled shyly and then spoke more clearly, leaving no room for doubt. I love you, and I want to be with you. What? Unless you don't feel the same? No. I'm happy. At my nervous but sincere reply, Lily's face lit up with a radiant smile. In time, I was reinstated at headquarters. And there was one other person who received a promotion alongside me. Lily, recognized for her achievements, was assigned to the planning department at headquarters as well. Don't worry about us. Even without you two, we'll manage just fine, Martha said, proudly standing tall as the new branch manager, taking over Lily's role. The other 4 staff members, teary-eyed but smiling, waved us off. They had all become precious friends. Even though we'd be working in different places, we'd always stay connected. Just know, if you make her cry, I'll come to headquarters and give you a good talking to, Martha whispered playfully in my ear, giving me a firm pat on the shoulder. So, she had figured it out all along. I chuckled, nodding to her in agreement. Of course. I'll make sure to keep her happy. What are you talking about? Lily looked at me curiously, but I brushed it off with a casual, "Oh, nothing." Someday, I promised myself, I would tell her the whole story. With that thought, I stepped forward into the new chapter of my life, excitement filling my heart. And most importantly, I was walking forward with someone I cherished by my side. I wonder if there are others out there who have completely given up on their lives, thinking it's all hopeless. To those people, I want to ask, have you really done everything you can before giving up? The woman I know had almost given up before even trying, convinced things would never work out. Had she given up back then, she would surely be filled with regret now. But because she chose to keep going, she's now thriving, shining brightly in all she does. Watching her, I've been inspired, and she's given me the courage to keep challenging myself. She once told me I taught her something important, but now I feel like she's the one teaching me. That's how I feel these days.